And here's today's message. So one Sunday after church, I came out to find that another car had parked in front of mine, making it impossible for me to leave. Church was over, so I couldn't cause an announcement to be made. I just had to wait patiently. So while I stood there twiddling my thumbs, I cast my eye over the car that was sitting between me and my lunch. It was beautiful, a sleek black Jaguar XJL, a gleaming 5-liter supercharged sedan with a fantastically powerful V8 engine that will give you the power of 470 horses at the tip of your toes and fly you from standstill to 100 kilometers per hour in less than 5 seconds. Basically a great big demon chariot that was just sitting there going nowhere and keeping me going nowhere too. As usual, my simple, unremarkable situation got me all philosophical, and I suddenly had a flash of clarity about one of the biggest reasons why so many of us are falling short of achieving our potential in life. So there I was, stuck behind an object that weighed almost 4 tons, an immovable obstacle. But it also occurred to me that all the owner had to do was turn the key, step on the gas, and this heavy slab of metal would become the fastest thing on the road. My dear friends, so many of us are treating our potential like a slab of metal when it is indeed a supercharged car. God has made you in His own image. He has given you the strength to create something from nothing, to move mines and mountains. He has given you talent, skill, and ability in a unique combination that has never been and will never be seen here on earth. He has given you the positive examples of those with fewer advantages than you who have still made it to where you want to be, just so that you will not be discouraged. He has given you all this ability, all this potential, all this horsepower, and you're just sitting there? Well, not today, my friends. Today, you are not a slab of metal. You are an intelligently designed, powerfully endowed, strategically positioned object of beauty. An object of function, an object of power. So don't just sit there. Start your engine, key in your destination, and step on it. Not only will you enjoy success at the end, but you will never forget the journey either. My name is Kojo Yankson, and I just fired my ignition this morning. Fancy a ride? Good morning, Ghana.
And as you know by now, Ghana has registered yet another confirmed case of COVID-19. The latest edition posted on the Ghana Health Service website brings to 7 the number of confirmed cases so far. You should know, as of the 17th of March 2020, a total of some 143 suspected cases had been tested for the coronavirus by the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research and the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research. On Tuesday, a report from the institutions indicated that one more case of the disease had been recorded in the Greater Accra region. The patient is a 35-year-old male, a Ghanaian citizen who returned to Accra from France within the past 14 days. With regards to contact tracing, a total of some 350 contacts so far have been identified and currently are being followed up. 2 of the contacts who developed symptoms had their samples tested, but they came out to be negative. Currently, there's no death, and all the 7 confirmed COVID-19 cases are being managed in isolation and are in stable conditions. Relatedly, authorities of the Kumasi Central Prisons have instituted strict protocols to restrain internal and external face-to-face contact with inmates. It is part of measure to protect prisoners and personnel against the potential outbreak of coronavirus at the congested facility. Built in 1901, initially to house only 600 inmates, the now overstretched prison is home to over 2,000 people. Ohimin Teria of our health desk visited the Kumasi Central Prisons and has come through with this report.
Personnel, inmates and visitors to the Kumasi Central Prisons must first wash their hands and apply sanitizers before having their temperatures checked. The routine procedure is also available at the already congested cells where inmates are banned from coming into direct contact with visitors. The stringent measures includes a ban on group religious activities. Inmates, irrespective of their faith, have been instructed to pray individually. The measures come as Ghana records 6 imported coronavirus cases.
The numbers in here is not a small number. I go to other places, they're about 300, 400, 500, but we have almost 2,000. And looking at where we are, like the center of the country. So if you are discharged here, some will go to Accra, go to the north, you are in the middle. So you can imagine somebody should get it from here and go out there. You either spread it to the south or spread it to the north. So we are at a vantage point that we need to protect ourselves, and I think we've done that as a station. Anybody coming to the prison, whether you're a policeman, an officer or a visitor, whoever is coming in, we make sure you use the water with the soap as well as the sanitizer before you come in. All the inmates coming into the prison are also screened. We take them through, we have this, the gun, thermometer, they use to screen you to check whether your temperature is within the specified range. And there's also another directive that we should suspend remands and trial inmates that we send to court. So with that directives, no officer is sending any trial inmate to court, and the police have also been directed to hold on with coming in for the remand prisoners.
Authorities are satisfied at the level of cooperation from inmates, including those on remand and trial, whose hearing in the courts has been suspended. They say the arrangement is enough to prevent coronavirus being recorded at the facility.
They know it's for their own good. For instance, with the issue of suspending trial prisoners going to court, initially we thought they will have a problem with it because it's a trial prisoner. He wants the case to be done with so that he will know his fate. But when the issue was, when we informed them, we noticed they are happy with it, but they themselves know their life is at stake. So whatever measures you are putting in place is for their own good, and they've taken it. There's no tension in the yard. They've taken it in good faith, and other things that we've educated them, they are doing it accordingly. Officers have been given enough education. Just this morning, our regional commander distributed sanitizers to almost all the officers. And even within the yard, we've isolated certain areas. In case of anything, at least we will send a person there within a week or two while the medical team will study the person to be sure that the person is not having any virus, probably just an ordinary flu. So there are isolation centers as well in the yard. We are already prepared. We are not hoping anything like that comes, but if it comes, I think we put measures in place to contain it.
Provision of Veronica Bacchus, sanitizers, thermometer guns, among others, is however putting a strain on scarce resources. Chief Superintendent Ewame appeals for public and corporate support to procure more of the materials for a sustained fight.
Financially, there's a burden on the regional commander because, as I said this morning, he supplied every office with sanitizer. You go around the blocks, you see the Veronica bucket and all that. The burden is on him, and then officers are also extra careful with other things. So I think there's a burden on the station as it is, but we'll be able to contain it.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimi Ntebia reporting.
And just tens of meters away, the Minsha Palace has suspended its major traditional ceremonies as a precautionary measure against the spread of coronavirus. The Asantehene has also directed the closure of the Minsha Palace Museum. Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko is bringing us the details.
Like a roaring lion, the coronavirus has entered the Ghanaian community, putting a scare to many. But authorities have stepped up measures to try to control its spread. Here, at the seat of Asanteman, the Minsha Palace, a lot of measures have gone in place to try to control the spread of the disease. Behind me is the Minsha Palace Museum. On a Tuesday like this, you will find all manner of people, foreigners from different countries, our own people coming in to enjoy the rich history of the Ashantis. But today, it is empty and silent because the place has been closed down temporarily because of the coronavirus scare. Visitors to Menchia Palace go through compulsory and controlled screening at the gate before they are allowed entry. On a busy day like today, the palace doesn't have its usual thronging of visitors and courtesy calls. It is because of new measures put in place on the orders of the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II to have all traditional ceremonies that attract large numbers of people put on hold. Marehene Bafo Shiaman Brintu, who is a member of the Metro Health Committee on COVID-19, spoke to Love News.
In that the public ones have been, suspended for the meantime. And
what are these? Can you take us through them?
Which one? The public one, main one will be the Ukude and the Akwasidai. The activities that normally, attract people from the outside to come. The first part is also a private event, but the second part is normally a public one, and that has been suspended. And additionally, we do certain rites on the Mondays after Akweside and the Thursdays after Okude. All those are going on, but not with public participation. Normally, people come to support what we are doing, but now, all those, we wouldn't allow the public to be in there.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
And before we go, Ghana as a country is making major strides towards achieving universal health coverage and targets of achieving quality health for all by the year 2030, as 30 medical professionals have been trained and certified under a global health quality improvement program, SafeCare. These 30 trained and certified healthcare professionals were drawn from member facilities of the Christian Health Association of Ghana. They will be deployed to assess all 330 hospitals and clinics and also help them on the quality improvement journey and also provide Ghanaians quality healthcare in the process.
SafeCare empowers the progress in care delivery of healthcare providers by helping them measure, monitor, and improve their services using innovative solutions. Its internationally recognized ISQA accredited standards measure the quality of healthcare provision. Farm Access Foundation is partnering the Christian Health Association of Ghana, SHAC, to implement the program. SHAC is a network of 330 health provider organizations owned by 25 Christian church denominations that accounts for an annual 6.5 million patient visits and admissions across the country. The SafeCare Country Manager, Bonifacia Benifo Ajay, explained these professionals from SHAC member facilities have undergone the ISQA accredited SafeCare assessor training to allow them to become certified assessors.
So assessors have two key roles. One is using the SafeCare standards to conduct the assessment, which will, through that, we'll be able to rate the facility and benchmark all facilities. The second role is to be a support or provide support or facilitation to the healthcare providers within their facilities to improve or influence change for improvement. And so these are the two key roles that they are playing. So for assessments, assessors will be able to assess only other facilities that have been assigned to them.
Furthermore, the assessors are supposed to support, monitor, and influence change in the way quality healthcare is supposed to be delivered.
Approximately one assessor to about 12 facilities in a year. So in a year, they would conduct at least about 12 assessments and train 12 times. And conduct monitoring about 24 times because they will conduct biannual monitoring. But then they'll also be providing remote support. So if the team or the providers or the quality team in the facility are embarking on some process changes and they need support, they will be contacting them via phone, via mail, and so the assessor will be sending messages and support documents, templates, and so on to support the process that they are doing.
The management of the SHAG network also explained that these practitioners will serve as trainer of trainers. Executive Director of SHAG, Dr. James Dua, is convinced that Safe Care program with Farm Access Foundation will lead to improvement in the quality of healthcare delivery and eventually reduce mortality rates in the country.
This process seeks to lead quality improvement processes that will reduce overall mortality, number one, in this country. Maternal mortality will reduce, child mortality will reduce, at least to inspire confidence in patients that if I go to this facility, I am getting minimum quality of care to make sure that I am okay. We are also looking at a situation where the expenses that we incur in the facilities will reduce because of introduction of efficiency. Leadership and governance will improve so that you have quality leadership in every institution.
One of SHAG's core values is option for the poor and the marginalized. It is therefore expected that through this partnership with Safe Care, the poor who are sometimes plunged into financial problems due to lack of quality standards will be well catered for at SHAG facilities.
Well, a good health story. But talking about health, we all do know the numbers now have racked up to 7. And we've had about, so far, 150 people and a little over all contacted and subsequently tested, and that speaks volumes about the spread of coronavirus around the world. We'll give you a bigger picture when we come to that part of the discussion. Today, we're bringing into the studio the Ghana Tourism Authority. The Chief Executive, Akwesi Agyeman, will be right here in the studio. But now, we have to take a look at what stories are occupying the front and back pages of the newspapers. Myself and Mama V were right here. Do stay with us. Well, we have new products in town, sanitizers, etc. And Mama, how are you? Good morning.
Oh, I am blessed. I'm doing great. How are you?
Chalade.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
A lot of information that will always be trickling through many platforms. And,
exactly.
You know, sometimes I had to caution a few friends of mine to tell them that, look, there's everything wrong with sharing information you haven't verified.
Oh, okay. You know? That's good.
Yeah, because a lot of people are exhibiting cold symptoms of cold and you know, other forms of flu. And so it's very easy for you to misconstrue something to say that, oh.
There's so many things going around. And listen, even in our office here, there are people who call our phone lines and give us information that is absolutely, I mean, when you hear it, you know it's not true. So people are calling and giving information, posting information. And I think that people deliberately do it. Those who are passing on the false information, the fake news, they know that it is fake and they're still doing it. If you know it is not true and yet you're sending it around, may you be punished.
Is it prophecy, Obinim like, or this is just caution?
Oh, wait, hang on. You brought Obinim, right?
Yeah.
I saw a picture.
Yeah, so we'll show Obinim's picture. We're going to find it. That one in a counseling session.
And the mask.
Yeah.
And the church.
And the members are also.
Yeah. With like a guard on standby, also dressed the same way.
Oh, I think unofficially.
Listen, it leads us to what's on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Face mask not necessary without COVID-19 symptoms. That's according to the Ghana Health Service. I've seen quite a number of taxi drivers and people who are wearing gloves and selling and doing all sorts of things. Charlie. Hey! Okay. So when we come back, I'll share what the Ghana Health Service has been saying on that.
But I think also people are doing this as a result of what they've seen in international media. In the most affected countries, people have put on face masks and a lot of gloves, and in such situations, you can restrict people from copying what they've seen elsewhere.
So we're just copying. We're copying blindly.
I think basically,
you know, we're missing the basic point. See, the basic point is not even use sanitizer. The basic, the really basic, which is the most effective, is washing your hands
consistently.
Yes.
Over a
washing your
60-second
hands
period.
with
Under water.
With soap.
Under running water.
Exactly. It is because we can't carry water and soap with us everywhere we go. That's why it's easy to have the sanitizer. In the events that you can't readily wash your hands with soap, you use the sanitizer. But we've made it apparently, and there you have it. That's a counseling session right there.
Professor Obinim. No, not Professor. Prophet. And this is Angel, Gabriel, Michael, Zacchaeus.
I like the spacing. I mean, it's well spaced out, but like, why is he wearing the gloves and the face mask? Or it's a nose mask, is it?
No.
Do you see his face?
Yeah, it's a nose mask.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I said, do you see his eyes?
Yeah, you can see his eyes.
Okay.
Right.
Great. Oh, did they record any incident in the church?
No.
Okay.
It's because when the directive came from the president
didn't say we should wear masks and be going around.
No. You know, when the directive came from the president, him, Opambo, Nigel Gazy, and a number of them said the president was not forthright in a way.
Really?
Yes, in giving this direction. And that they will offer counseling session if the general congregation is not supposed to come together.
So there's a coronavirus session, like a counseling.
So they are going to still organize counseling sessions, but not the larger congregations. And so it's at variance to, and this is how they said we were going to do it. Make their members put on the face mask, because that would be a kind of a focus group, a smaller grouping in the church. Yeah. So that's why he's demonstrating how he's going to undertake his counseling sessions.
Okay.
So it's just a demonstration. Well, I think I find it very fascinating. It's gone viral on social media.
I still don't get it. I think it's a joke. Seriously. All right, let's concentrate on what's on the front page and back pages. So 2 more headlines. 4 assemblies ready for Accra rains. COVID-19 follow testing criteria. Medical director advises citizens, and unlike what the Standard Chartered has done, there's a COVID-19 alert on the front page of the Daily Graphic. It says, given the protocols around social distancing, we encourage our client to use our digital channels straight to bank and online for all transactions. There is a special supplement today. You might want to grab the Daily Graphic and check it out. On the back page of the paper, use water judiciously to avoid crisis. A call by the Ghana Water Company. They say because of the coronavirus and the fact that we have to regularly wash our hands with soap under running water, there's a tendency that some people may abuse it. So whilst you do it, but the only issue with this advice is that there are people not getting water even before coronavirus. So I'm not sure they are saying coronavirus is the cause, but there are people who have genuine water issues and they want that addressed. Because in the face of that, if you tell me that use water judiciously and I don't even get it at all, it's very annoying if you send a person that kind of message. Also, Maritime Authority removes 3 stamps on Dambai and Jara. I think this was in one of the papers yesterday. So that's the stories in the. That's, by the way, the headlines in the Daily Graphic front back. Let's do the Finder, front page of the Finder newspaper. United Front as leadership of Parliament backs President's COVID-19 measures. Government, media and medics collaborate on COVID-19 communications. Confirmed COVID-19 cases in Ghana rises to 7. Gridco clarifies recent power outages. To the Ghanaian Times front page, COVID-19 update, BEC candidates must go home. Teacher unions appeal to president, demand timetable change for final exams. Also on the COVID-19, 2 patients responding to treatment at Greater Accra Regional Hospital. That's an update. President confers with parliamentary leadership over COVID-19. Ghana records 7th confirmed COVID-19 case. 2 Italians refuse entry into Ghana over COVID-19. So you realize that all the headlines something to do with COVID-19. It's taking over everything, really, even in our country. They've got some preventive measures there by washing your hands carefully and regularly, by covering your mouth and nose with your arm when coughing and sneezing, by immediately disposing of a used tissue, by staying at home when you're feeling ill or not well, by avoiding contact with other people if you suspect you have fallen ill. The only thing I find a bit not so clear is by covering your mouth and your nose with your arm when coughing and sneezing. I think you're better off doing that with tissue and disposing that off. I think is still directly on your skin.
If you get to see, for many of the times, you have it when you have your clothing on.
Yeah, but I don't, for instance. So if you say I should do it,
and if you get to do the reading, it has a number of times or period that it could stay on your skin.
So just use the tissue, dispose of it. But I can understand, we're not so used to that. There are some habits that takes like a very long time to change. So sometimes you don't deliberately want to do this, but before you know, you're doing it. Yeah.
Well, true.
Some people say it's difficult not to touch your face. It's easier for me because of the makeup. So I have learned not to touch my face. Yeah. All right, let's do the Daily Statesman newspaper. That's my last newspaper. Akpeteshi is not a sanitizer. Plants Research Center warns public. And this is no joke. I think we have to get the message across to our families and our colleagues. There are people who don't understand things the same way that we do. We have to do the education. We have to get down there and educate family members as well, especially those market women who feel, well, we're not getting the sanitizers, so we can use one thought akpeteshi. I think we should rather tell them, use soap and water. That doesn't cost. Use soap and water. That's easy. Yeah. 2 Italians denying entry into Ghana as COVID-19 travel ban on countries with 200 cases bites. Somebody also reported that his relatives came from America. They're Ghanaians, but naturalized there, which means, well, technically they are not Ghanaians. They were asked to go back. So they got to the airport and then they had to return back to the US because per the advisory, strictly speaking, it's only Ghanaians who have traveled outside who can be allowed back into the country. So we're also enforcing those directives that were given on Sunday. Fetish priest sentenced to death for murder over 2 men. Roland, I'm done with my headlines.
All right, so swiftly, let me just go to the Daily Guide. It has on the front page, 2 Italians stormed at Kotoka, 1 more COVID-19 confirmed. All on the front page of the Daily Guide. On the side, we do have Muslims call off Friday prayers. 1-man churches cry over COVID-19 ban. Ghana missions, though, suspend services. The latest is of the UK. Nana meets speaker. COVID-19 bites economy. The story is on page 3. Talks about how the Minister of Finance says initial preliminary analysis undertaken by the ministry shows that the virus will impact negatively on petroleum receipts in particular. He said it is due to the collapse of international crude oil prices, and you just have to check the crude oil prices on the international market and get to see how low they are. You get to imagine what? In a way, it has a domino effect, but also it's supposed to have some positive effect on the customer as well. According to him, the COVID-19 has also begun affecting tourism. And talking about tourism, we're going to have the Ghana Tourism Authority boss right here in the studio to get to open up how we have been affected. You know, just last year we had a successful year of return initiative or celebration, and we're supposed to have continued this year.
Paragliding has also been one of the activities that we get a lot of foreigners also come to participate, and local people as well. I mean, essentially, like Kwewu has become a tourism destination around Easter. Yes. Almost everybody wants to go to Kwewu, and people plan way ahead. So this is a major disruption of tourism activities in Ghana.
Very big
exactly. Charlie.
Okay.
I have no choice.
Yeah. Let's go to the back page. Chelsea star defies self-isolation rule. We're talking about Mason Mount defying his club's isolation protocols amid the coronavirus outbreak to play football in a London public park along with West Ham's Declan Rice. And this is according to ESPN sources revealing this.
That's a very indisciplined player.
Yeah.
To think that he's involved in one of the game's most disciplined activities is football. And he couldn't just simply follow the rules.
He decided to. Youthful exuberance, I'll say.
Yeah, it gets tiring, by the way.
The National Sports Authority is banning national teams' travels. They have no choice, really. But club layoff non-playing staff, that's Barnet FC in England, have placed all non-playing staff on notice for redundancy as they consider the impact the coronavirus is going to have on football's long-term future. Since the club were relegated to the National League at the end of the 2017-18 season, they have seen a drop in attendance and a general increase in cost. Meanwhile, Man City received training plans to follow from home amid many other related things. Let's go to The Custodian. The Custodian newspaper has on the front page, over 30 African countries confirmed COVID-19 cases. Just this morning, Liberia recorded second case. A cook who was just around the house of the first case. And now they're going to do contact tracing. You know, Ebola was very big in Liberia. And as a result of that, the Liberian authorities are taking this seriously because the initial case, who is the Environmental Protection Agency boss of Liberia, traveled to Switzerland, contracted COVID-19 or coronavirus, was asked to quarantine himself upon arrival. He refused. He's a big man. If you know Liberia very well, you get to know Charlie. The big man, they enjoy that. And he decided to, you know, go around. You know, it's a chilling, Monrovia is a chilling place. So, and then subsequently wasn't feeling well, got tested. And so far, we're told that on the African continent, more than 400 cases have been recorded. And
we know South Africa, I think South Africa is really has been hit really hard in this. 8 of their 85 patients contracted the virus locally. Yeah.
Serious. If somebody makes entry, particularly with Ghana, where we know that the cases are imported, the person makes entry, whoever picks that person up, the hotel they go to sleep in, or the house, or the guest, the dignitaries or their friends they meet along the way, where they visit, you should know. That's why we have about 350 people all in the net, you know. Parliament closes public gallery over coronavirus, but they are still sitting together among themselves. Government, media and medics team up on communication. Down there we have saga of salmonella, contaminated gizzards imported to Ghana. This is an expert view. The story is on page 3 of the paper. And we'll tell you about how serious the related issues are. It's supposed to be on page 3. I think it's not there.
You know, yesterday South Africa recorded 23 cases, just one day, 23 cases in South Africa. It's really kind of like getting out of hand there.
Yesterday, I didn't want to say, but I have to say it. A friend of mine, who is with the police service, friend of mine, was alarmed at a friend who had returned from Italy and put the person on speaker. I was also on the call and I listened to the person. He came with an Italian friend. He's a Ghanaian. He's a big trader. And he was allowed in, just shown a thing. And ideally, we should tell them.
So is he, no, but he has a responsibility as well
to self-isolate.
Exactly. Is that what he's doing?
He straight away went to his business.
No way.
No way. And you were telling me,
that's not right.
And you know, I said,
no, and
I'm telling you.
But the point is, once you get in and you're not exhibiting anything, I mean, the people
and obviously
at the airport are not magicians. They can't. Once you're not exhibiting, but I think you have a duty. You owe yourself and the rest of us a certain duty to keep yourself for 14 days. After which, if nothing happens, then you can. But you can't do that. You can't put the rest of the people's lives at risk like that. I think you should call him back after the show and let him know he has to keep himself and try and remember the people that he's contacted. At least he didn't take the necessary precautions initially, but he must going forward. I think it's not right.
Yeah.
You can't, listen, you can't say that, oh, because the people at the airport allowed me. Of course you didn't have that 37.5 temperature level that they're looking for. but you know where you are coming from. I mean, you don't need, and you're an adult, you don't need anybody, you're not a child that we should be telling you what to do. I mean, especially when you're coming from Italy and you know the kind of disaster that's happening there. I mean, it's human lives being lost every day. And this is no play, no joke. I think we should be responsible as individuals. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just do the Daily Dispatch newspaper. The Dispatch has on the front page, result of research published in 2009, a running mate from Central Region does not guarantee their votes. Ghana's 7th COVID-19 patient confirmed. UNICEF's tips on COVID-19. Ghana Water Company warns store water we're facing challenges. I don't have water often, so kind of living with it.
Well, some of us are not on the Ghana Water, pipeline. So exactly.
So which pipelines do you use?
Oh, we use the borehole.
Fantastic. Wow. How innovative Ghanaians are.
Oh, please. I'm sure there are many Ghanaians who don't have anything to do with Ghana Water, except when they go to work.
You fall in that demographic.
Unfortunately.
And I think you live in a privileged situation.
No, I don't think so. I would have loved to be on the Ghana Water supply.
With all the stress. Because you don't face the stress.
But I mean, I don't have the lines.
No wonder your skin is so radiant most of the time.
Is it part of the headlines?
Because you bath good water.
I should sue you one of these days, one of these fine days when there's no coronavirus.
Let's look at business and financial.
A strong lawyer and sue you.
Let's talk
for the comments you make.
Let's talk about the Business and Financial Times. That's on the front page. Credit to private sector slows amid declining NPLs, non-performing loans, and experts say banks are still cautious about whether they have to lend to the private sector. Local cashew industry, though, is suffering a 50% price drop as Vietnam cuts exports to China. China, I tell you that China is like the heart of the world. They're in trouble, we're in trouble. Civil servants to enjoy 15% pay rise for March 2020. Okay. On the back page, we do have Puma holding it, Puma Energy. Okay, they're holding the 4th retail conference and awards, and one of my good friends who's one of the biggest retailers Puma has, Mr. Godwin Tamaklo, who was awarded, got 3 awards, including the MD's award. Congratulations to you, Mr. Godwin Tamaklo. You won Lubricant Station of the Year. Congratulations to you, as well as the MD Special Award. The GM Special Recognition Award was also won by Mr. Godwin Tamaklo. Congratulations to you. You're not in the picture though. It's on the back page. Oh, sorry. All right, Mama V.
Yes, on page 16 in the Daily Graphic, I did say that I'll share what the Ghana Health Service has said with regards to the face mask and the gloves that we see people wearing around, even though they are not frontline health workers, as preventive measures. Here's what the Ghana Health Service says. While the masks are useful for healthcare givers who are in the front line in dealing with COVID-19 cases, they are not the utmost preventive measures for those who are playing it safe. Following the confirmation of COVID-19 cases in Ghana, the Daily Graphic has observed that many people have resorted to the use of surgical or disposal masks, as well as pieces of cloth and canvas to prevent catching the viral disease. But in an interview, Director of Public Health, GS, Dr. Ebenezer Bedu-Sarkodie, said not all nose masks had the ability to stop viruses and bacteria from reaching the nostrils. Even the kind of mask that had the ability to protect one from inhaling the virus needed, which in this case was N95, needed to be worn properly and tightly to get enough protection, noting that it had been observed that people using the mask did not properly fix them as needed. Dr. Sarkodie explained that there were 2 types of face masks. The ordinary one, known as disposable surgical mask or medical mask, which cover the lower face and may be pleated, cap-like or duck bill shaped, and the N95, so 2 times it described. Surgeons and other health professionals wore surgical masks in the operating theater and during some other types of procedures to prevent liquid spill or splash from entering their nose and mouths. They were also worn by symptomatic patients to protect others. However, he added, surgical masks could also be used by people in overcrowded places where potentially affected persons might be and where social distancing would be difficult to observe to prevent droplets from symptomatic persons through coughing and sneezing from landing on the mouth and noses of others near them. The ordinary mask could be helpful, but to a very minimal or limited extent, and so people wearing them should not think they are 100% protected. A lot of particles can penetrate them, and they can get soaked and become a conduit for increasing virus and bacteria. There's a lot more to what he has said, so you can learn about it. But certainly, we haven't gotten to that stage where you can be walking around in nose mask and gloves. Let's check out what's on myjoyonline.com if we can, before we go for sports. Is it possible? Okay, but you know the Electoral Commission has said it will still go ahead and compile the register for the 2020 elections because, you know, in the statement they said it's been rumored that they were not going to go ahead because of coronavirus, but they say no, that's not true. In a statement on March 17. Okay, so the Commission wishes to assure the general public, it said in that statement, that it is taking the necessary steps to guarantee the safety of the citizenry and safeguard them from the virus. The public is entreated to prepare for the upcoming voters register exercise. On myjoyonline.com, NDC MP fights EC's move to make only Ghana card passport admissible for new voters registration. Plenty more stories on myjoyonline.com that you can go and explore. We have to bring you sports. Okay, all right, so the more headlines. Here's some good news being reported across the world. You can click on it if you've been really down because of the virus and sharing the good news. And then there's some more good news. You can now order KNUST manufactured low-cost sanitizers. Shame on all those hoarding. Thanks to the KNUST. I think is it the pharmacy department or something like that? You can, get in touch and order. New voters register exercise will go ahead despite coronavirus scare. EC moves to make Ghana card passport acceptable for registration into electoral roll. Churches should fix new dates for Easter celebrations. That's according to Dr. Opuning Frimpong. Ghana suspends consular services to UK and Ireland. All right, so plenty more stories on myjoyonline.com that you can explore. We'll bring you sports up next. There's very little happening on the pitch, but there is a certain, is it T-Roll challenge or something like that? The footballers are getting involved. They are joining in the challenge from their various bedrooms. I'm not sure how much of it Benedict is going to share, but going forward, Benedict, you have to be very creative. Apart from Kwesi Appiah demanding his $175,000, Euro 2020 also been, postponed.
Called off.
Yeah, so, we have to play our own football in the studio and report on it and other games. Stay with us. There's plenty, though, to tell you about, even in sports.
Time to talk sports here on the AM show. My name is Benedict Tosis. Thanks to Dr. Pambo was on last Saturday's edition of the Joy Sports Link with Nathan Lato. We still stay here on the low coast, and Vice Chairman of the Premier League Committee, Jesse Japan, has been speaking about the effects of the coronavirus on the Premier League.
The concern has been putting the game on hold, and what that means, one, in terms of sponsor interest, what that means in terms of commercial engagement at the park itself. And I can say for a fact that we're having a lot of discussions about the game, including taxation deductions so far as match tickets are concerned, how much every host team gets out of the total money that are actually raised. So these are major discussions at the committee level that we actually having to ensure that we can put forward a good fight that ensure that the clubs are making as much money as possible. And then, boom, this actually comes up. So this more or less, to somebody, it might look like it gives us a window to clear the administrative things that we need to clear. But from a plain body perspective, it actually affects a lot. And we're actually hoping that whatever happens at the global level, we might get some good indications that, look, things may taper off a little bit to enable us to get back into the stadium again. But for now, it's a worry, but we are hoping that it will clear within the 4-week window that the president actually did hope that it would actually clear.
So Jesse Agyapong is vice chairman of the Ghana Premier League Committee. Now away from football, Butcho Nkegbe and Aisha Seidu are two outstanding para-athletes in the country. Now last month, both won gold at the OCC Marathon Championship in South Africa. But what has life been for them? Joy Sports Muftau Nabila Abdullahi paid them a visit.
Growing up, Butcho Nkegbe, Aisha Seidu, and Yakubu Abukari, just like any other Ghanaian child, had their dreams. But when they turned 6, 3, and 4 years respectively, those dreams turned into a nightmare as their lives changed forever. They were visited by the deadly polio, rendering them physically impaired forever. In a society where physically impaired people are seen as destitute, sports became the only option to change the narrative. All three, who are para-athletes, have flown high the flag of Ghana in international competitions ranging from the Olympics to the OCC Marathon. Butcho is an Olympian. Aisha won gold in the 42-kilometer race in South Africa last month, whilst Yakubu was at the 2015 All-Africa Games in Congo-Brazzaville. These successes are enough encouragement for these athletes, but why would they choose such a difficult discipline? Aisha says she needed to take her destiny into her own hands and found this as a comforter when her world deserted her.
I joined Parasports, that was 2013. I joined Parasports. I was in Nalirgu and I moved to Tamale for the sake of, I was trying to carry my own destiny into my own hand. So I decided to move from Nalirgu to Tamale. Because where I was coming from, even though the family has not discriminated me, but some kind of life is going through the family. But me personally, it's like if I fold my hands, I can't say anything, or I can't make any decision in the family. And it's like I don't know how I'm going to.
So, were you hurt? That's why you left home?
Yeah, I was hurt. I say, no, if that is the case, then let me also find my way somewhere and live my life. Because in the household like this, where even though they can provide the meat, but if I don't like the meat and I don't have alternative, I'll force myself to eat what they provide, even though I don't have appetite.
She adds, choosing to be a para-athlete has become a blessing to her, and she wants that man who appreciates her.
In the society we live in, you have to have someone you can who appreciates you. Yes, because in society some people think that if you are a disabled, you can't give birth or you can't marry. That's some of the public perceptions. So that is why I want to use my challenge and fight for that.
Butcho Nkegbe had wanted to be an engineer if polio had not incapacitated him.
Growing up, I was more creative. I was more like somebody was trying to pursue engineer career because I used my hand to do so many things. I remember in school when anytime they said crafts, I always bring out some the things and put it together to make car or make something. So growing up in school, that's what I thought I would be, but only God who can discern my destiny. And this here I am now. There's no those career and now sports career have dominated, but I'm also pushing my kids. Any career they want to go in, I'm still pushing them to. So one of them to become engineer, as I dream of.
There are 1,001 people who are on the streets begging for survival, but these three have decided that despite being physically impaired, they say disability is not inability, and life is what you make of it. For Joy Sports, I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
And we know that we're going to have a conversation with the Ghana Tourism Authority. And Akwesi Agyeman, the Chief Executive, will be right here in the studio. But talking about all the related effects of coronavirus. We have to take you to the authorities at the Kotoka International Airport, where they've begun turning away non-Ghanaian passengers from infected countries of coronavirus as government travel advisory or restrictions kick off. Now, the move is expected to further deepen the woes of airport operators and airlines. And in today's AM Business, Sheila Tamaklo has been engaging authorities and airline operators on the implementation of the travel restrictions and its impact on the aviation business.
So, as at 13 hours on today, Tuesday, well, the directive that states that non-Ghanaians or persons without Ghanaian citizenship will not be coming from the endemic zones of the COVID-19, that is, places that have recorded over 200 cases will not be allowed into the Ghanaian jurisdiction, has taken effect. And here are the arrivals of the Kotoka International Airport Terminal 3, where the managing director of the Ghana Airport Company Limited tells us that this directive is in full enforcement, and apparently quite a few passengers have already been turned back.
Any airline that showed up after 1300 hours this afternoon, the non-Ghanaians or people without Ghanaian permanent residency were turned back.
So far, about how many airlines have we had to turn back the passengers?
In total, 3 airlines. We have Emirates, Ethiopian, and Delta.
And altogether, about how many passengers?
I cannot give you the figures, but I know. I think one was on Delta, 13 on Emirates, and I've forgotten the figure on the Ethiopian one. But these are the airlines that came around the time of the ban taking place, and we allowed the directive to work.
So have the airlines been informed adequately about this directive, and what exactly has been communicated to them?
We communicated the directive to them. We communicated through a NOTAM. A NOTAM is a notice to airmen that informs the airlines that effective this afternoon, 1300, non-Ghanaians and people without permanent residency in Ghana from endemic places, and the endemic places are defined as places with, countries with more than 200 COVID-19 cases registered. So if you come from any country such as that, that person is not allowed into Ghana.
Okay, but then there's a question here that these people who were coming on the flight, possibly there were also Ghanaians on that flight who were admitted into the country. Now, what kind of checks then are we implementing on these other Ghanaians who came in here, because they sat in the plane with people from endemic areas?
Well, before we apply the directive, we have procedures at the airport to screen people for the virus. And I believe last week we took even the president through the terminal building and we demonstrated the process, which is a world-class process. The majority, a key determinant of somebody with a virus happens to be temperature. So we screen each and everyone who enters the nation, and if you find out that the temperature is above a certain normal, I think 37.8 or so, that person is quarantined or pulled aside for further discussions and so forth. So the same measures were applied to the Ghanaians who were allowed to come in. In addition, per the directive once again, we told people, we advised people to self-quarantine themselves for 14 days. For example, if you were traveling, if you were coming to the country and you know about the dangers of carrying the virus, I think if you're told that if you go home, try and stay away from other people, you should do it, because if you don't, then let's say you have it, but you're not showing signs and you infect your loved ones, I don't think you'll love it. So that word has been carried out. We spoke to everyone, we explained to them the dangers, and I think right now with all the information that has been shared from around the world, people have become aware of the dangers of the coronavirus. Look at what is happening in France. The country has basically shut itself out from the outside world. And so we believe that the information that we gave to between us, I mean, Port Health, Ghana Airports Company, Immigration, Customs, we gave to our fellow citizens and people residing in the country will be followed when they go home.
But whilst this directive is being enforced, how are the airlines taking it? Well, indigenous carrier Africa World Airlines tells us that they have had to reduce their regional flights by about 40% and domestic ones by about 20%. So we'll be speaking to the Chief Operations Officer of Africa World Airlines, who is in the person of Sean Mendes, who explains further to us.
There has been an impact on the number of passengers who are traveling in recent days. The travel advisory that the government of Ghana has put out, which effectively bans non-essential travel to Ghana effective 1300 hours today, is already showing an impact on some of the regional routes. We have trimmed some of our capacity on regional routes by about 45% and on domestic routes by about 20%. But we'd also realize that as an airline operator, we have a responsibility to the communities that we serve to maintain a level of essential service. So we're going to maintain service to all of our destinations for now, and we're continuing to maintain that as long as it is feasible to do so.
So with this trim that we are seeing, 20% and 45%, that's pretty huge. How is this also impacting your revenues, your financials?
Well, certainly the revenues are taking a hit, but of course when you're not flying these flights as well, there is a savings on the cost side as well. We're fortunate with Africa World Airlines that we're well positioned to be able to ride this out. So at this time, we're not looking at layoffs or anything else. We are confident enough that the measures we are taking, both operationally as well as financially, to conserve our resources and to optimally deploy them for the benefit of our staff, for the benefit of our passengers, for the benefit of the consumers and the traveling public in general, will ensure that when you fly with AWA, you can fly safe and fly confident.
Okay. Now, amidst all these issues, you've seen a number of airlines, for instance, SAS, is laying off about 90% of its staff. It cuts across. Lots of airlines are laying off staff, some are sending them home. Are we seeing a similar thing here?
At this time, Africa World Airlines believes that we are poised properly to be able to ride out this crisis. We have a plan and we're implementing this plan. We don't anticipate at this time to need to go into layoffs or similar, but we are encouraging staff with outstanding leave balances or so forth to claim their leave right now. Non-essential, non-operational staff are already on work from home and have been for a while. We have implemented protocols for our staff in operational roles at the airport, on the aircraft. They are all engaging in mandatory disinfection of hands. They are wearing face masks. They're wearing gloves if they're in customer contact. And all of this is being done for the safety of our staff as well as the safety of our passengers to prevent cross-contamination. If your passport, for example, may have been on a surface that is contaminated, it's essential that when you handle it and our staff handle it, that any contamination is not passed across. And so we're using gloves and sanitizers and things like that to ensure that we're doing everything we can that for those people who have to travel during these times, and there are people who have essential jobs who do need to travel, that they are traveling safely, and they should be confident that when they fly with AWA that they are able to travel safely.
The situation is no different for the international carriers, and Air France KLM country manager Dick Van Nuenzen also tells us that this impact is going to be severe for the airline. In fact, there's going to be a reduction in bookings, and for them, KLM and Air France are considering 70 to 90% reduction in their flights.
Our business is impacted heavily. As per today at 1 o'clock, the travel advisory is taking place. Now that means from countries more than 200 people infected, the citizens are not allowed anymore. Unless if you're a Ghanaian national, you're allowed to come back to Ghana, but if you're a foreigner holding a resident permit, you're allowed. But if you don't hold a resident permit, you're not allowed in the country. 75% of my business is coming out of Europe. Now that means the whole of Europe, I think you have almost every country is more than 200 people infected. That means nobody can come from Europe to Ghana. Now, same more or less with the USA. Our flights will go via Amsterdam to the US. There is a flight ban between the US and Europe, so also there are no passengers. Yeah, and I'm virtually flying empty as from this afternoon. Outbound flights Accra to Europe are full because everybody is planning to return to the home country. So on that part, you have seen our ticket office in the front, it is full. People are rushing off to the home country, and be it Amsterdam, be it Europe, be it I don't know where.
Okay. But so coming back to the question now with the ban, with the flights coming in, what percentage decline are you going to see, or how bad are you all this?
It is estimated. There was yesterday there was a message from our CEO, Mr. Alberts, that 70 to 90% of our flights will be cancelled to worldwide network, because there is a ban on Far East, there are bans on the USA, within Europe you cannot travel anymore, and flights will be grounded because we simply don't have passengers. If it is 70%, if it is 90% what will be grounded, I don't know, but it is expected that between 70 and 90% of our flights will be grounded.
Meanwhile, several other airlines have taken similar actions, all because of the coronavirus outbreak. These include Brussels Air, which has suspended its flights temporarily effective 21st of March. So, reporting from the Kotoka International Airport, my name is Sheila Tamaklo.
Well, just telling us that, look, this is a situation that we can all have a tamps on. That's good work there by Sheila Tamaklo. But in the meantime, we also have to give you an overview of what the worldwide cases are. And straight away, we'll take you to the main site, worldometers.info/coronavirus. And it's where we'll give you what the breakdowns are. So, well, conversely, this is coronavirus cases worldwide so far hitting the 200,000 mark. As has been projected by World Health Organization officials by the close of the week. And we can go view by country, but we'll do that soon. Death so far, 7,989, increasing by the day. Not in astronomical figures as was initially reported from January to February in China, but now the epicenter seems to be hovering around Europe as we have it. Recovered so far 82,000 and in excess of some 700. Let's go up. Active cases, currently infected patients worldwide. We have a little over 100,000, and closed cases we have 90,000. Now this is what it did indicate. Those in critical conditions, out of these over 100,000 cases are just around 6,400, and the deaths so far reported from the closed cases are 7,000, as you can see, 900, and those that have recovered, 91% in total, in excess of some 82,000. Now, if you take a look at what the scales are, the linear scales are, this is what it was from January, and from January up to the February period, it was mainly in China where we had many of the cases recorded, and now pegged around the 80,000, inching up to 90,000. It's been slow in mainland China as a result of the measures, mainly quarantine measures and fumigation, as well as disinfection actions that have been taken by the health officials. And just to give you what the general overview is, China still reporting just a little over 80,000 cases, and that's a total so far. The deaths just now 3,200 cases. But it's in Italy where we've had great competition as far as the fatalities are, 2,500 currently, but we've had a number of total recoveries inching around 2,900. The concern for World Health Organization officials have been about how it looks like Italy has been overwhelmed by the cases of coronavirus. But in country, a number of measures so far since that announcement by the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, have been put in place, and the finance minister was on the floor of Parliament, the plenary itself, briefing parliamentarians about the state of these actions, its effects on the economy, even though we've had some related issues raised by the minority. But we also do know that as we have it, 7 cases have been reported so far in Ghana. The Ghana Health Service is indicating. You can go to their website on your own after here to get to know the do's and don'ts, what you need to know. And so far, what the response measures have been, the emergency call centers that you need to reach in case of any suspicion so far. GhanaHealthService.org/COVID-19 is the site. The president message is also there. So the other related sectors apart from entertainment, aviation, is directly tourism. And that is why we want to have this conversation with Mr. Akwesi Agyeman. He is the Chief Executive, the Ghana Tourism Authority. Please make sure you stick and stay. It is next.
Thanks for staying with us here on the AM show. Roland has painted the global picture in terms of how widespread this whole coronavirus COVID-19 is. Now, Ghana, as you know, has recorded 7 cases of this pandemic. Tourism is one of the worst affected areas, as government had high hopes for it beyond the return initiative. In the wake of the scare, obviously, we asked the question, how's the Ghana Tourism Authority ensuring the hospitality industry adheres to the regulations? What's been the impact of this on our local tourism? Our guest is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Mr. Akwesi Agyeman. Good morning to you. Not a very good morning in these times.
Good morning, Mavi.
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay. I think I saw you sometime last week, you know, with the speaking to media people, but also hotels and trying to get them to do the right thing. You know, issuing some directives. But how has it generally been for the authority in terms of tourism?
Thank you. I believe it's quite a difficult period for us. A lot of work in trying to first off get the precautionary measures that the government has put in place extended to the hospitality and tourism sector, and at the same time also trying to get the impact and how we can mitigate it. And so in one breath, whilst we're working with the industry in saying do the right things, don't be scared, just take care, the precautionary measures, wash your hand, make sure that sanitizers are in hotels, are in the public areas, the notices are available and all that. There's also that part of saying how much has this impacted your business and how do we all work together to remedy the situation. So I believe, I mean, we all know when it comes to tourism, if you look at the historical antecedents, Ebola 2014, tourism gets a dip. Globally, during the SARS outbreak somewhere in 2003, same thing happened. During the Iraqi war, same thing happened. So tourism is such a sensitive industry that the little scare, people decide, okay, let me stay put. And so that is what we're going to see. We started engaging all the various associations to try and get the full impact, present a case to our ministry, to the Ministry of Finance, and also see how some of the mitigating factors that can be put in place policy-wise by the ministry. But I think I also have hope because this is an industry that has always rebounded. And so, yes, we'll go through this, but I believe that we'll rebound.
Okay, great. So let's talk about the Beyond the Return initiative. What was supposed to typically be happening around this time?
Thank you. I believe we started off quite well. You know, the president made the announcement somewhere in December. But Beyond the Return is a 10-year project. So this will be one of 10. And what we were tasked to do by the ministry was to engage various stakeholders because it has about 7 pillars, cutting across several other industries. So, for example, you have the Invest in Ghana pillar, which is spearheaded by GIPC, Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance. But we more or less are acting as a coordinating agency. And then you have things like the pathway to Ghana, where we are looking at the whole visa processes, pathways to citizenship and all that. And that is also under the Ministry of Interior and the Ghana Immigration Service. So the stakeholder engagements took pretty much the whole month of January, February, how we can all work together to make sure that once we hit the ground, we are running. We were looking hopefully to have launched somewhere at the end of this month. I mean, but already we started seeing some huge traffic coming in. In March, for example, we had the Attorney General's Alliance here, and these are like the 6 top attorneys generals from the U.S., black attorneys generals coming here, and that was a huge statement. So we had Attorney General from Washington, from New York, from Nevada, from Chicago, from Minnesota. They all were here, and these were more like endorsements that we were going to ride on. We had Bozoma also here with the Endeavor Group, meeting with the creative arts sector on how we can turn these whole visits into business. So we were quite hopeful. I mean, we have started off well, and then this dip. I mean, obviously now we are in a semi-lockdown, so to speak. So we'll pick up the pieces. We'll go back to the drawing board. But like I indicated, we all know that our peak months always of travel is around summer, and then also in December, which has now become the December in GH with Afrochella, Afro Nation, and all that. So we're quite hopeful that we can get this over quite quickly, and start moving a bit more aggressively. We've also seen some hits for the domestic tourism.
I was just going to say that around this time, everybody's getting ready to do something in Kwewu.
Kwewu is now, it's gone. It's gone for this year. But I believe we will always look for other alternatives. For example, in the Kwewu area last year, we started something with the Kwewu Professionals initiative called the Kwewu Homecoming. And I think it's something that is going to happen this year in a bigger way, because definitely Easter is not happening. This was around the 21st of September, around our first president's birthday.
Okay, so we still have a bit of time to get that.
To put the pieces together and see how a bit more aggressive this time in terms of marketing, a bit more aggressive in terms of trying to put a spotlight on destinations that need to be lifted up. So we believe that we'll get out of it.
Okay, but obviously there won't be paragliding, because this activity actually brings a lot of foreigners.
Yeah, paragliding, I mean, we were hopeful because it's not so much of a mass activity, it's more one-on-one, but the issues were very simple. There will be contact between pilot and passenger.
And people also just gather to watch.
People gather, it's true. Yeah. So definitely it's one of the easy pickings. We were hoping to have met with the Kwewu Traditional Council. We'll still have that meeting once the issue of public gatherings are gone, and then map out what's next. Because if you look at the hotels up on the mountain, this is a major season for them. Major season.
I hear there are new hotels.
New hotel, Rock City. So this is a huge hit, and we've started engagement. I mean, yesterday, for example, our Eastern Regional team went up there to talk to some of the hoteliers, the number of bookings that they had and how many cancellations. We've done the same with upmarket hotels, conferences being cancelled, events, where everything is more or less been cancelled. And
can we put a figure to how much we're losing?
Okay, so the figure bit is quite difficult, but we can put more like percentages.
Okay.
I mean, so for example, we are estimating that there will be about a 25% reduction. Because clearly this probably will run for a quarter, and so a quarter will give us about 25%. We've been to some of the upmarket hotels, hotels that were averaging 70%, 65 to 70% occupancy, are now doing 20. I mean, and they've also experienced cancellations up to June. So pretty much we know April is gone. May is gone, and if we cannot pick up the pieces on time, then June might also be affected.
So that's like half the year gone.
Half the year gone, but mind you, already the first part, January, February, March, at least it wasn't bad. People did some business. So we are looking at a quarter gone, and this, I mean, globally, the expected job loss is about 50 million. And so in Ghana, we see, what most hotels have done and establishments have done is to ask staff to take leave, paid leave, because the more they come to work, the riskier it becomes for them. And so that means that owners, stakeholders, shareholders will have to now pump up money to pay for people who are not working.
Is that also happening locally?
Oh yes, if you go to the upmarket hotels, that's what is happening, from 3 to 4, 5 star, because the bulk of those hotels, if you take, this is one thing that is really impacting all the various levels. Normally, when you have a global pandemic like this, it affects mostly the upmarket because they depend more on international tourists, visitors coming in for big conferences, for events and all that. But this time, this will also go down to the floor, because if you look at guest houses, budget hotels, their uptake is normally from people going to, let's say, a tourist site. There's a budget hotel, there's a funeral somewhere, they go and then they stay in the hotel. But now you can't have the funerals, you can't have the weddings, you can't have anything done. So this one goes right through everything, everything. Budget, guest house, everybody is going to feel it. The airlines are telling us the load factors. This week, for example, there's been a surge in demand, surprisingly, because people want to go out.
I guess because of the deadlines with the restrictions, yes, people wanted to get home.
People want to get home, people want to move out, people want to, because there's a fear that if there's a lockdown, then I might be caught up somewhere. So there's been a surge for a week, but averagely, if you look at the cancellations, it's quite huge. They are also moving from load factors between the 60s, 70s to now 30s and 40s. And so we know stories of airlines like Virgin, BA, all asking for stimulus packages and all that to survive. South African Airways, we already know where the issues were in South African Airways before. And so all these are carriers who have a huge impact here locally, and we've engaged them. Yesterday we met with the airlines board, we've met with the tour operators of Ghana, for some of the cruises that are coming in, and we worked very hard to start getting cruises coming to Ghana. There was a big one that was to land on the 31st of March in Takoradi. And if you all of a sudden have 500 people, international visitors in the community in Takoradi, look at the impact. A problem. That look at the impact on the small businesses, shops, fashion designers, and all that.
But now we can't have that, because that would be a huge problem.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. So this thing is quite a hit, but I believe we will get out of it.
So, because when I saw the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority's release that they had suspended cruise vessels, I was wondering how many of them do we actually get coming to Ghana?
We for some time we didn't seem to have. But last year, for example, I think we had about 13 or so coming. And the good thing is that they've now started putting Ghana on the cruise line map. And there's been effort that have been put in by both private sector and ourselves. There's a sea trade fair in Florida where most cruise liners meet. And we've had operators like Lantor, Sunseekers, always go out there to make a very strong case that, look, we have the capacity. So we've been engaging the Ports and Harbours Authority. Last month, for example, we have a delegation from Barbados. They are very experienced in cruises, and they've engaged that, look, if you want to go big on cruises, because these are ships that will come sometimes 2,000, 3,000 people.
And they stay here for how many days?
Oh, sometimes they do. The thing is, most of them stay still on board, but they come out and they go back. So some they do 2 days, some do a week, some do a day. But they go out into the community, they spend, and then they go. And so if you put yourself on that map, but to do that, for example, you need to work on your infrastructure. We don't have cruise line terminals here. So what happens is that every time there's a cruise landing, we have to do a makeshift. Look for canopies, set up a market for them, bring in small businesses to shop. So things are happening, but we believe that.
So we've stalled, kind of.
We stalled. It's time for in some level of introspection. The visitors are not going to come. How do we take advantage of this and re-energize our industry?
Okay.
I believe there are opportunities for us to go big on digital in terms of revenue for the country. I mean, there are
digital tourism.
Oh yes.
How is that?
No, virtual tours. People want to. I mean, you have apps that can take you through Ghana in one day.
Okay.
You know, you pay, you go on there. So we're working with people who have seen it, told us that look, this is the way to get out of some of these issues where people can still experience the destination. It's also time for us to now take a deeper look in our campaign that we are running, See Ghana, Eat Ghana, Wear Ghana, Feel Ghana, because even when we are out of this, the rebound will not be immediate. People's travel planning sometimes takes months. And so if let's assume that everything comes to normal end of April, you wouldn't start seeing a surge in May. It probably will take time. So the way to bridge it is domestic. How do we work with local operators? How do we promote destinations locally? How do we get people to move around? And how do we offer the sort of incentives or work with operators to create packages that will appeal to Ghanaians to travel around?
Okay, so one more thing with the Kwewu Easter celebration, with the paragliding and everything that happens in Kwewu around Easter. How much are we losing with regards Kwewu alone?
That's a difficult question to answer. But I know, for example, last year we did an impact study, Kwewu impact study, in terms of the numbers that come in. The reason why I say it's difficult to say is the studies showed us that a lot of people go to Kwewu and they stay in homes. They have friends who
because we have a lot of rich people from Kwewu.
Yeah,
They've
so
got huge houses.
Yeah, so when you use only the hotels as your yardstick, it becomes difficult. You also realize that there's a lot of return visitations. But even if we take just the hotels, I think we're talking somewhere within the region of about 30 million. Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. Yeah, and this is just for a short period. And so we think that something must happen, and that's why we have engaged. Today, for example, there's a hoteliers meeting at 4 of the upmarket hotels because they are hurting. They are hurting and...
Are they doing total refund? Because, you know, you have to pay a certain percentage to secure the rooms that you've booked. So if I'm cancelling, and this is not just because I have decided to cancel, the event is not even happening.
I think for most of them, they are doing total refunds. Most of them, they are trying to engage with the people that, look, we can offer you, and I mean, just more like postpone if it's just a visit. The challenge, though, is with the group bookings, because the group bookings, you have to do the refunds, and chances are that it might not happen again. And so that is where the danger is. But things like certain conferences, events, meetings may come back if but this is also an opportunity for us to now see how we work together.
Okay,
I mean,
I've seen with your statement, for instance, that you've given a phone number and some details so people could call, because people also register with the authority, correct?
Yeah, we have licensed units, so they call sometimes. But this was more to do with because already we had about almost 100 paid passengers. So they have to get their money back. And we have said, look, call and get your money back.
How much of a problem is that going to be for the authority?
Not
refunding?
Not a problem of the refund, but a problem of generally not having the paragliding festival. I mean, we've put up so much in terms of infrastructure. This year we're going to even outdoor and some few new things at the site, make it more interesting and attractive. But hey, life goes on.
Yes.
We believe that the president has done well by asking us to be careful, not than be sorry. Because if you look at what is happening in Italy and other places, I think they thought, oh, we will ride this, and we don't want to be caught off guard. So rather safe than sorry. And so we will work at it.
Okay, great. So for those of us who have also locally done bookings for Easter, how does this directive affect us? Should we cancel?
Oh, we haven't said cancel hotels. People go, the hotels are not empty.
But we're going with families.
No, but if you stay in your house, you stay with your family. So it's the same thing. So if you want to make a booking, 3 or 4 of you go to a hotel, there's nothing wrong. But observe the engagement rules, precautionary rules, sanitizer, wash your hands, avoid, they say social distancing. If you do that, there's nothing wrong in a hotel room. I mean, but it's just the mass gatherings. If you're going to go to an event in a hotel room, then that's risky. But go have fun, go sit at the beach, reflect, see the nature.
So we still can freely do that?
You can freely do
those
that.
Activities.
Those activities are not cancelled, but the public gatherings, the mass gatherings. And I think we, this week, after the meetings with the hotels, we are going to the resorts to see the numbers. I mean, for example, we know the challenge with a place like Labadi, La Beach, the Pleasure Beach.
The Pleasure Beach?
Yeah.
Okay, so not the hotel?
Not the hotel, no, the beach. If you have mass gathering, then we will have to find ways to put a stop to it, and by either or suspension. But I think these are engagements that we are ongoing, because the issue is you probably will not have 50 people working at the same time. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of a sudden there are 50 people there. It becomes a public gathering in itself. Yeah. And so how do we deal with things like that? But it's more of an engagement. We are empathizing strongly with the operators. People have invested. People have, if you go to places like La Villa Boutique, Accra City, they are expanding their facilities. Last year was a very good year for all operators. So people saw that, okay, beyond the return is coming, let me put up more rooms, more conference facilities than this. So we empathize. We feel that we need the data to engage more with our ministry and also with the Ministry of Finance on what can be done. I mean, for example, after, and even now, I mean, for example, with the airlines, I mean, they pay parking fees at the airport, certain fees and levies that they pay. Is this something? I mean, they have.
Are you spearheading that?
We are spearheading getting the data and knowing the impact. You know, because many a times, and we've told operators, people say, oh, we have been affected, and you ask them, how much have you been affected? And they can't tell you. And so we want the numbers. We want people to tell us. I mean, we've been to the upmarket. They've told us, the hoteliers have told us they are now doing between 20% versus, let's say, an average of 60%. So you can now make a strong case for that. How do we come in? How do we support? If you go to airlines where the load factors are dropping to below 40%. I mean, is there a way that something can be done to support? So we're putting all the data together after our meeting today with the hoteliers, and then we'll go make a presentation to our ministry that, which is in charge of policy, that this is what has happened, this is how it's affecting the industry. I mean, for example, the issue of providing sanitizers and in hotels and all that. We know that all of a sudden the cost of sanitizers have gone beyond what, and people are saying, look, we're already suffering. We already have people not coming in, and now I have to buy a gallon of sanitizer for almost 400 cedis, you know, and these are things that are real, it's happening. And so what do you do as the regulator? We engage, we assure, and then we go back to the drawing board working with the relevant authorities, and in this case for policy, our ministry, and also the Ministry of Finance. Okay, for possible intervention. Somehow. So I see that you've done a very good thing with the website Visit Ghana, and you've had some advisories and directions on coronavirus. So we're pulling it up. You're just going to run us through some of the things that you've put on the website. Okay. And I'm concerned around this time for local tourism, because we still can go to places. We still can go to places, except that it shouldn't be a lot of people. Yeah. So what's the advice there? I think we're going back to, I mean, we've been engaging. For example, there are the directives that came, there are some that have to be drilled down even further. If you take, for example, 2 days ago, the issue of the ban on that foreigners cannot come in, will not be admitted. I mean, the issue was, what about the crew? You know, so all of a sudden we had to go back to the Ministry of Aviation, working with the airlines, to the Ministry of Information, that there may be certain things that will impact if we go this way. So we are monitoring, and that's why we are engaging the operators. So,
okay,
for
example, so what happens to the crew? Because I know when they come, they check into any of our hotels.
No, the crews mostly, for most of the airlines, they have long-term relationships with the hotels. So we know, for example, BA stays at Kempinski, this one stays at Movenpick. So it's set. So it's just the crew that changes.
But they are not Ghanaians. Some of them are not Ghanaians.
They're not Ghanaians. So immediately we went back with the airlines and we engaged. The ministry went into, they have a system they call in the airline system. So it was changed so that the crew are allowed in.
Okay.
No, but then crew, we know most airlines check their crew and all that, and they also observe the precautionary measures. I think the issue is not to say people cannot, go anywhere. For now, we are not in a lockdown. All we are saying is that sanitize, wash your hand, avoid touching your face, avoid doing certain things. For example, if you go to hotels, for food handlers, although I've noticed that if you are not, you don't have the symptoms, you don't have to wear a mask. I mean, in our case, for example, for the food, those who are serving food, we have masks that we've asked that they get, because those are things that they are serving, they will engage. I mean, if, for example, unintentionally somebody sneezes, then it becomes an issue all of a sudden because there's food in front of the person. So here's a general directive of non-wearing of masks, but for us, we've said that for the frontline staff, people who are serving, waiters and all that, let's observe some of these things, gloves, if possible.
So we'll see that in all the hotels.
Yes, we are. We
eateries.
We will, but it's also not something that is going to happen overnight, because we've set out the directives. We are going around monitoring. I mean, there are some that are doing amazingly well. I mean, if you go to places like Asmera, Buka, and all those things, you go there, they sanitize you, they get you to wash your hand, so you go there and you feel confident. So we said, oh, okay, should we tell people not to go to a place like that? Why not? But we will go around. Our inspectors are on the field in the regions, engaging. Hoteliers are telling us where their challenges are, where they probably, people with the sanitizers and all those things are, in some regions you can't get some to buy. And so we are seeing, is it a case there we can work with the health service to get it in bulk and supply? So all these things are going to play out. And it also depends on how long this is going to last, which is what nobody can tell. And that makes it a bit scary.
True. Let's go back to your hotel guidelines. And I wonder, because I think, can we just go up to those directives before the food and beverage handlers? Let's just go one step. So he said, screen guests and staff with appropriate medical devices. What should the expectations be if I walk into a hotel?
Okay, so this is a general administrative directive. We know that not all of them have the medical devices, but some do. I mean, if you go to walk into any of the 5-star, you should expect that they will do that.
Okay.
I mean.
So you're checking your temperature.
They're checking your temperature. That's as far as they can go for now. But then some are also reporting. I mean, yesterday we had a case of a hotelier calling us that they have some guests who flew in and been a bit sick,
exhibiting some of the signs.
And so immediately we call health service, got them in touch with the hotel. They went there to check. So that is the kind of collaboration that we want, expect, and feel that can help. And so when we say observe and screen, it's more like sometimes people may have come in and they can ask, I mean, in filling the form, have you traveled anywhere lately, in a polite way. So we can start seeing the trends. And then once they report back, we also report to the authorities.
Just finally on this, the president's directive on the nightclubs, people I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So what's the way forward? Has there been an appeal? I heard some people wrote, some people have been talking, you have heard. So what's the way forward?
I think you see, principles can are not divisible. People took the thing out of context. I mean, for example, what is a nightclub? If you go to a hotel, they may have a restaurant, they designate this as a nightclub. But then in the same statement, the president said gatherings of 25 or more should be cancelled. And so if there's a nightclub where a hotel has a nightclub and there are 5 guests in the hotel and they want to go to the nightclub, we don't use the word nightclub. Then we can say no tourism establishment should be open. So he said nightclubs, restaurants, bars and all those things. You could have a bar where there are 100 people. But I think the issue of the president saying churches are closed down and people say, oh, church is closed down, nightclubs should go on. I mean, it's sometimes it's part of the game, but I believe he meant well. We've told the hotels that let's maintain the minimum numbers.
But there are other facilities that are not linked to hotels. They're simply clubs.
But if you're a club and you are having a guest of more than 25, it goes without saying that it's a public gathering and you shouldn't have it.
So what do we have? Do we have like a task force that's going around and ensuring that
we
people
have what we call the Corona Alert Team.
Okay.
In our establishment, they are going around. In Accra especially, but in the regions, our regional teams are going around.
Any culprits? Have we found any people who have breached it?
We've found culprits who are breaching things like the lack of sanitizers, the lack of washing facilities for people, and we've gone strongly. We've told today we are also going to issue a new directive that, I mean, these are now becoming offenses in itself because the law has been passed that the directives are now legal documents. So when it was an administrative thing, we're more appealing. But now if it's legal, then we can use it to shut down facilities if they are not complying. So if, for example, people are walking in and there are no places for them to sanitize their hands, wash their hands, and all that, we will have the force of law on our side to do what we need to do. But we're also appealing because we have so many inspectors. I mean, so you go to a hotel, once they see, sometimes they check your car, they say, oh, the tourism people are coming, everything is fine. You know, we will not be there 24/7. So we appeal that we are in this together. Let's observe, because if we get to the level of Italy or even the UK or US, God forbid, truly, we won't survive. We won't survive this because these are even more robust economies, robust systems,
stronger healthcare systems, at least we thought.
Yes, but this, I mean, but this is also, I mean, something that is quite shocking. It shows how vulnerable and interconnected we are as a people, and how we need to be careful in all the things that we do, because economies like the US that have built missiles, billions of dollar missiles, cannot attack a virus as small as a coronavirus. Tells you that things happen, and we believe that we can ride it if we work together.
Okay, so finally, your task force members obviously can't be everywhere, and even when they go, because they can be identified, we can get people doing the right thing, like you said. So we can be your eyes too.
Yeah, you are.
If I find something, I go somewhere and I find, what do I do? Call you? Call who?
Yeah, we have the numbers on the site,
but
I think we have also asked that we all try and work to one source, which is the health service, especially when it comes to issues of people not being well and all that. But for our statements that we issued, there are numbers on there that people can call.
Okay.
And then we will pick up. I mean, if, for example, we got a call that there's a mass gathering. I mean, yesterday, for example, somebody called that there's a church happening in his area. So we said, okay, this is now a police case. Report to the police, because we don't regulate churches. But I think if somebody is holding a church service of 50, 100 people, or even a church service now, then you're going against the directives of the president, and you have to be watched.
Okay. So is it your office number? That's because that's what I've seen on the site. Should I put that one out? Because there's a 030 number.
No, you can call that as well, but I think the statement that we issued, we had a 024.
Okay. So we're just going to find that. We'll share that with you.
I don't have it all fair.
No, I know, because this was not part of the... it just came up. All right, so thank you very much for your time. I guess we'll be talking from time to time.
Most definitely, and thanks for the advocacy. I watch and I see that you're doing a fantastic job with letting people know. But please, let's not scaremonger. Let's make people be aware, but life goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I am reassured, with the fact that you still can go on your little holiday with your family.
So don't cancel your Easter. Don't cancel. I know where you're going. I won't put it on because...
Thank you, sir. We still will go. We will just not form a crowd. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we hope we hope that we brought some reassurances to you. We are where we are, but we have to stay together and then get through this together as a people. But what does 70 years mean to you? Old and past its prime? Is that what it means? For us at Graphic, it's a celebration of 7 decades of excellence, rich experiences with great achievement, and we've done it all together with you, our readers, advertisers, clients, agencies, partners, regulator, supplier, and the entire nation. Graphic Communications Group Limited is 70 years, and we are thankful to God and to you. So come celebrate with us truth and accuracy every day. Stay with us. We've got plenty more conversations coming up, but let's talk Arrive Alive. It's our own campaign on ensuring motorists stick to strict rules and regulations. Our focus today is on the luggage we pack into our vehicles, especially for those who travel long distances on commercial vehicles. Do you check what load is being put into the compartment? Our station managers even concerned about the kind of luggage loaded. Kojo Yang Singh posed these questions to some drivers and passengers at the New Plant station.
Accra to various destinations across the map. Some cars will be going as far as the northern part of the country. Some will be going to the Ashanti region, the eastern region, as far east as the Volta region, and some of them might even be crossing borders today. Following yesterday's accident on the Kintampo stretch, which we are told was caused partly by the fact that one of the vehicles was carrying fuel in a container. Today I'm wondering, do we know what people board buses with? Do we know what they carry in their luggage, in their bags, in their sacks? Do we know whether everything that is put on a bus that is carrying lots and lots of innocent people is safe for transport in a passenger vehicle? Well, let's find out. Hello, sir. What's your name?
My name is Ewa Bafo.
Ewa, this is your bus, right?
Please.
Okay. How long have you been a driver?
I'm almost about 20 years now.
20 years driving buses?
Yes, sir.
Where do you travel to?
To Kumasi, Accra to Kumasi.
Accra, Kumasi?
Yes, sir.
How many times a day?
Oh, only once.
How many passengers does your bus carry?
My vehicle is 31 passengers. This one is executive.
31 passengers. Now, some of them bring luggage.
Yes.
Is there anything that they are not allowed to bring on your bus?
Okay, if you have motor and there's a fuel, I will not allow you to put that motor inside my car. Yes, unless we drain the fuel before we can join this bus.
So can you show me where you load the luggage? Now this bus is what they call an executive bus. So just over 30 passengers, 31 passengers, traveling all the way to Kumasi, and this is where the luggage is loaded, the loading bay.
You see the bags is here.
Mm-hmm.
The bags is bags. The iron and metals, we put that one here.
So what are these ions and metals? What are they?
This one is for Abosokan people.
Okay, so spare parts?
Spare parts, yes.
And so if somebody is bringing something in a sack or in a Ghana must go bag, how do you know what is inside to tell him whether it's allowed or not?
Okay, I will ask you to open the thing so that I will see inside. If you didn't open the thing, then you take it to another place.
Hello, I'm Balo at Asante Bekwai and Obuasi Station as a chief driver.
Wonderful. I want you to tell us about the work of the chief driver. Let's walk. Yesterday, the accident that happened in Kintampo, we know that one of the drivers was tired, was feeling sleepy. We also know that one of the cars had fuel in a container and also a motorbike with fuel in it. Is that allowed here? Can any of your drivers here load a motorbike or a gallon with fuel for a journey?
No. You know, we load passengers, including luggages, but not a motor with fuel inside. So when you come to the station here at Neoplan, this is Neoplan Station, the mother station of the whole Greater Accra and Ghana. Well, so when a motorbike come to my station here, we'll drill the oil and the fuel off before we put the motorbike inside a car, before the car will go away. Something like gas cylinder. When you bring a gas cylinder here, we check whether gas is inside or not. When it's inside, we drill it out for safety of the passenger.
Do passengers feel comfortable when they are sitting in a vehicle like this? Do they trust their driver? Do they believe that they will be taken safely to their destination? Let's find out if any of the passengers are willing to speak to us. Hello, sir. Do you have a minute to speak to us on Joy News? Can I ask your name? What's your name, sir?
My name is Tochukwu Emmanuel Ezechina. I'm a Nigerian.
Oh, that's great. You're going to You're going to Kumasi today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you often travel in these vehicles to Kumasi?
Maybe this is my first time to follow this park because sometimes I can follow a VIP. That is it. But what I know that they are doing well. They are doing well.
Do you feel very comfortable traveling with these big buses, whether VIP, Neoplan, whichever of these buses? You feel comfortable traveling with them?
Yes, I'm always comfortable because their bus is always nice and a comfortable seat. Yeah, that is it.
And you trust that your driver is competent, he knows what he's doing?
Yes.
Yesterday there was an accident in Kintampo. A lot of people died. One of the buses was a bus like this. One of the cars involved in the accident was a bus like this. And people are raising questions about the competence of that driver. Apparently he was tired, falling asleep. That's what caused the accident, according to the survivors. Does that worry you? Do you worry about whether your driver knows what he's doing and he's awake and alert during your journey?
Well, yeah, always the driver, they're always careful of what they are doing. Maybe accident is always occur. Maybe I'm seeing it's just an accident. And they understand this is what just happened. Maybe because since we're always following them going up and down, I never experienced any accident. Yes.
Now, another problem with the accident yesterday was that they had loaded a motorbike onto one of the vehicles and there was fuel in it. Do you ever worry about what passengers bring with them on the journey? You know, you are sitting right above the loading bay where they put the luggage and things like that. Do you ever worry, is there fuel in my car or is there any substance that we should not be traveling with?
Maybe it's not good to carry motorbike with petrol. You understand? Maybe I don't know. Maybe whether they didn't know the motorbike have an fuel or something like that. Maybe I don't. So what I know that is not good. Maybe this is a human life you're talking about. You understand? Anything you want to do, you have to to be very careful and know what you are doing. Maybe as you are carrying the motorbike, you have to search well and see whether is it what possible, because what we are doing is you are doing with human beings, not animals. That's all I can say this morning.
But how about you? When you are bringing things onto a bus, does anybody check inside your bag or check what you are carrying, whether it's safe or not? Have you ever had somebody check what you are bringing on a bus?
Yes, of course. They always check. Maybe sometimes they can open my bags and check whether I have S-beats or what. Maybe they always check. They always check, actually. Yeah.
So you feel quite confident that everything is going to be fine, nothing that shouldn't be on this bus will be there, and the driver will take you safely, right?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate it. So I'm here with Mr. Kwame Frimpong. He's the station master for all the buses going to Bekwai, Obuasi, Kumasi, and related destinations. He'll speak to us in Twi, and I'll translate and summarize for him. Mr. Frimpong, that's say one ekasa. Now I say buses by na uti o mo ma mo kwan ma mo loadi.
Yellow do sprinter bus. Yellow do bus akasiye. Na double for no omo loadu a yetu omo fo se kwan no mo hwe so ye accidents ene ade no nto mo hwe omo driving no omo ndafo collect nti yetu omo fo no mo transe kasa asana car ni betu kwan po na ya jo mo kwan mo mako.
So he's explaining that the sprinter buses as well as the bigger longer buses are all loading to these destinations from here. And he added that as the station master, he and his colleagues always advise the drivers on how to behave on the roads to make sure that they arrive alive at their destinations. Now, me pacho, sprinter buses no, mo check cars no, to see say bibia problem be ani ho omo ties ye correct omo light ye adwuma ne ade ansa na weti omo amomwe loadi.
Pacho ye check bibia o ka akra anya kra ma maginem o ka anya ye ma maginem ye check ties check bibia ansa na ma ka na tu na se o ka anya kra pa ma magina ske e ma ho loadu
enti cars na omo sisi ha na omo be loadi no da ben na mo check here.
Oh, that be me adwuma 24 hours. Nti me ba no pa bia me check ansana car no e be loadu a loadu.
Na drivers.
Well, Kojoyan Singh there trying to make the effort to buy a ticket of either VIP or one of those long buses from the Neoplant station right here, just close by us, as we want to make sure that we get the education going in this trying times of COVID-19 or coronavirus. We already do know that the Ghana Health Service on its website has indicated the numbers reaching 7, and we're expecting that there will be a press briefing at least for the media and the general public for that sort of communication to go on. But you can also do what is good for you to ensure that your health is also in a good stead. And so make sure you stay tuned right here to Joy News, and we'll give you the best sort of education on coronavirus. But more so, you can get a lot more information through Facebook Joy News on TV. We also have a Twitter handle at Joy News on TV, and check myjoyonline.com or watch MyJoyOnline TV, which is our official YouTube page or channel. We're talking about health and all the related aspects. You know, the producers of Prostate 60 and the other derivatives of the drugs they have, Phytotech, they will be in the studio. And they do comprehensive research to make sure that when it comes to related issues on prostate health, they bring you the best of medicines or medication for it. Make sure you stay tuned. That conversation is right up. Well, we did tell you that you have to make sure that you stick and stay, get the right sort of information as far as health is concerned, and well, coronavirus and the related infections and the information that you need to make sure that you keep yourself healthy within the space is always right here on the channel Joy News. What we also do provide you is added health information. We're talking prostate health. We do have Ruben Agbo with Phytotech Limited. They are a purely pharmaceutical company, but also a bit unorthodox in nature because they focus on herbal medicines. And then we also do have George Duka is head of marketing at that great manufacturing organization, Phytotech Limited. Thank you for joining me, George and Ruben.
Thank you.
And first, just tell me a bit about Phytotech and especially what you do.
All right, okay. So when we look at Phytotech, tremendously, we have seen that herbal medicine has grown over the years. So now everybody wants to enter into herbal medicine. People are producing herbal medicine. That is what people are used to now. But as to whether herbal medicine are safe for our use, that is a challenge. as to whether herbal medicines are efficacious, that is a challenge. So people don't really trust herbal medicine. There's that stigma over there. People don't really trust herbal medicine. But you know what? Doctors in Ghana will prescribe a product that is also a herbal medicine coming from China, coming from Thailand, coming from Germany. Why? Because with them, you are able to trust their efficacy level or their safety levels. What have they done? They have implemented what we call herbal pharmaceuticals in their production. So if Ghana or if Africa, we want to improve upon our herbal medicine, where you can go to the hospital, a doctor will prescribe it for you, or you can go to a clinic and then somebody will prescribe a herbal medicine for you, knowing that the efficacy and then the safety is being established, then it means that we want to practice herbal pharmaceuticals. And that is why Phytotech Limited was born. So Phytotech Limited was born out of the need to add science and value to the production of herbal medicine. So what we are doing, this is like a pharmaceutical company, but we major in herbal medicine. And before they will give you that standard, they will give you that qualification that you are a pharmaceutical company, it means that you have what we call good manufacturing practices. So everything that is supposed to be done in terms of herbal medicine production or pharmaceutical production, that is what actually you are doing. So with Phytotech Limited, we have done all the tests. We have done all the efficacy tests, everything that shows that yes, Phytotech Limited is really on point in terms of their production of the herbal medicines. Yeah.
To add to what my colleague just said, for instance, if you can have, can you please appreciate this on the screen?
I'm sure they'll do that.
This is made in Ghana products by Phytotech Limited, Prostar 60.
Just for free.
This is Prostar 60.
Okay.
This can be comparable. It's comparable to any herbal medication or any drug in the world. So then why do we run from here to China and India to import their herbal medications when we here in Ghana have the herbs here? Yes, I agree with the doctors there that they don't want to prescribe medications from Ghana because of lack of enough scientific research. I agree with them because you don't want to compound your ailing patients with other ailments, like us in compounding their problems. I understand with them. That's why Phytotech has come in. We have come to stand in the space to add value to the herbs that we have, to add science to the herbs that we have here, so that in this case where this COVID-19 has taken the greater turn of the, or is taking a toll on this nation. I mean, if we are able to look within and build upon our pharmaceutical companies, resource them, do more research. COVID-19, even if it takes hold of the whole economy, the whole world, we will be safe because we are eating what we produce, we are producing what we use, and we're going to go places.
Right. So how come now Prostate 60 seems to be a household name? We have to talk about its efficacy, etc.
Yes. So, as I said earlier on, when it comes to efficacy, response, feedbacks we get from the ground is overwhelming. Feedbacks from doctors is overwhelming when it comes to the efficacy of Prostar 60. Prostar 60, so far, when people who have used it, when they call us, I mean, it's a very nice feeling. Each morning we go to the office and you get calls and people telling you that we took your medication and it works and it's good and it's so refreshing. I mean, it gives us that feeling that Ghanaians, we are also capable of doing it in Ghana, in this world. You see, so when it comes to efficacy, I mean, I don't know any medication in Ghana that is able to do what this is going to do. This is herbal and pure herbal. And again, one beautiful thing is that when we do the safety analysis on this, it's also gentle on your liver and kidneys. So the fear that our doctors have that herbal medications in Ghana give renal failure, kidney failure, I mean, we are alleviating their fears today. These things over a period of time, even if you double the dose, you can take it for a prolonged time, and your kidneys and liver are still fine and perfect. So our Orthodox doctors out there, this is a breakthrough. We entreat you today to help the Ghanaian industry. Let's support our own, and let's, look within first before we look outside.
Yeah. And Mr. Agbo, what would you add to this? Talking about how the labels also, to me physically, I see that it indicates it's also an immune support and herbal booster. What does it mean?
Okay. So we already know the immune system already, that it's able to prevent or defend us against the infections, toxins, diseases, and everything. So if you are having a very strong immune system, it means that you have a very good, healthy life. So that is what it means. When you look at our immune system, there are foods, or there are some fruits and vegetables that are very good for the immune system. And when we look at Prostate 60, it contains one particular active ingredient. That is what we call Annona muricata. In our language, it's being known as aluguntu green. This is what herbal pharmaceutical company will do. That is Phytotech. We have extracted the right amount of that particular active ingredient into this. That is for the Prostate 60. So if you are able to take Prostate 60, it's able to support your immune system very well. It's able to boost your immune system very well. So in this pandemic, you don't really need any other supplement to boost your immune system. If you are taking Prostate 60, this is what you are doing. You are using one stone to kill two birds. So you are managing your prostate health. At the same time, you are boosting your immune system. So that is what Prostate 60 does. And you know what? We are not the people who just wrote it over there that, okay, fine, Prostate 60 is very good for the immune system. No. But the authorities, I already mentioned earlier that before Prostate 60 will come out, we have done all the efficacy tests, all the safety tests, and then the other necessary tests. They even informed that, no, our product is very good to support your immune system. So why don't you indicate over there? So that people will get to know that when you are taking Prostate 60, you are supporting your immune system. And that is why we have immune support over there. So anybody at all can take Prostate 60. I always say it. Don't wait to be 50 years, don't wait to be 60 years and over before you start taking Prostate 60. No, you can take it now. It can support your immune system now amidst COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, who can take Prostate 60?
All right, okay. So I was saying earlier, anybody having prostate issue can take Prostate 60 who is a man. Now, anybody who is also not having the condition can also take Prostate 60. Now, any woman who is in support of boosting the immune system can also take Prostate 60 today. So that is what we are saying. So anybody at all who would want to boost the immune system, so far as you are from age 30 years and above, you can take Prostate 60 and it will boost your immune system. At the same time, it will take care of your prostate. Yeah.
You want to add something?
Yes, I want to add something to it. In addition to what my brother just said, this Prostate 60 is for the management of prostate health conditions, any prostate health disorder, such as frequent urination in the night, difficulty in passing urine, which is very, very common among men by the age of 50, especially when you have to see your doctor and you've been diagnosed of prostate enlargement. Don't look far. Just go for Prostate 60. I've also done some research, and I'm still doing the research into this, that men who have fertility issues, low sperm count and all those things, I've got to know that because of the enlargement of the prostate, because the prostate is enlarged and it's pressing the aperture, the urethra, of which from where the sperms flow out after ejaculation, you see, because the aperture is narrowed. When you have an ejaculation, the amount of volume of sperm coming out is reduced. So it may affect your fertility. So then I recommend that anybody who is is being treated for fertility, in addition to the fertility medication, can add Prostate 60 to help free the pipe. But so that when you ejaculate, everything comes out, not some retaining inside the scrotum.
Okay.
Okay.
And if you want to give numbers for helplines, etc., which will be the
yes, if you, viewers out there can call 0246 490116 or 020 9977733. Or if you go to any any herbal or pharmaceutical company around, any wholesaler in Okanshi has Prostate 60. Just for those who want to buy in large quantities, just go to the nearest wholesaler around you and get Prostate 60. If not, just go walk into the nearest pharmacy and ask for Prostate 60. And again, to those who are using Prostate 60, Prostate 60 is not a one-time thing that you just take 1 minute and 1 day and you think that's it. No, we don't do that. That means you're not ready for treatment. Before the cells got that big, that enlarged, it didn't take 1 day, it didn't take 2 days, it didn't take 3 days. It took years. So if you want to treat it, want to shrink the prostate, you need time. At least, so we recommend at least 3 months, of consistent taking.
All right, thank you for supplying the helplines. But all this, you say that based on the recommendations of a medical advisor.
Yeah,
all right.
Exactly.
And we've had in the studio Head of Marketing, Phytotech Limited, Georgie Duka here, and also Dr. Ruben Agbo, also with the same company. And the two of you, thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much
education.
for the time.
In the meantime, we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more for you right here on the show.
Good.